Here's a dramatic, 2,500-word story followed by 10 detailed AI image prompts you can use for a YouTube video. The first crack of thunder rolled across the neighborhood like a warning shot, but I was too focused on the warm glow spilling from our front porch to care. My wife, Emily, balanced on a step stool, stringing the last row of twinkling amber lights along the eaves. Autumn in Willow Creek meant long, cool evenings and early sunsets. Those lights were her little rebellion against the neighborhood's endless rules. Almost done, she called, her voice bright against the deepening dusk. That's when the sound of heavy boots shattered the quiet. 2 men in dark uniforms strode up our driveway, flashlights slicing through the twilight. The reflective, HOA security patches on their chests caught the flicker of Emily's lights. "Ma'am, you're in violation of HOA Lighting Code Section 4B, the taller one barked, his voice flat and practiced. "Take those down immediately." Emily climbed down, confused. "Lighting code, it's just decorative. And who are you?" "Neighborhood compliance officers," the other said, showing a badge that glinted under the porch light, cheap metal, but convincing enough to make me hesitate. Something felt off. HOA rules were strict, sure, but I'd never seen them send out men like this, especially not at night. "This is private property," I said carefully. "If there's an issue, we'll speak with the HOA board." The tall man ignored me. "Ma'am, step down and turn around. You're receiving a citation for non-compliance." Before I could blink, he grabbed Emily's wrist and snapped a pair of handcuffs around her. The metallic click sliced through the air like a gunshot. "Hey," I lunged forward. "You can't touch her." The shorter man blocked me with a stiff arm, his eyes hidden behind mirrored sunglasses even though the sun was long gone. "Stay back. Interference will lead to arrest." Emily's eyes widened, disbelief melting into fear. "This is insane," she whispered. My pulse roared in my ears. "Call the police," I told her, then realized her hands were bound. My own phone was inside, and the men's presence was suffocating. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, silhouettes of curiosity and cowardice. They marched her to an unmarked black SUV idling at the curb. I bolted for the house, grabbed my phone, and dialed 911 with trembling fingers. The dispatcher listened, her calm voice a lifeline. "Sir, no official police or HOA enforcement has been reported in your area. Stay inside. Officers are on their way." By the time real police arrived, the SUV was gone, along with Emily. 2 hours later, headlights swept across our driveway. A patrol officer helped Emily out of a squad car, her wrists raw and eyes blazing. The men had driven her to the far edge of the county, dumped her near an abandoned gas station, and sped off. She'd managed to flag down a passing motorist who called for help. "They weren't cops," she said, shaking, once we were inside. "They weren't even HOA. They kept saying something about teaching a lesson." I held her tight, rage and relief warring in my chest. The officers took statements, promising an investigation. But we both knew what this was about. Valerie, the self-proclaimed queen of our HOA. Valerie owned 17 Harley-Davidsons, her babies, as she called them, and she'd spent years turning the HOA into her personal fiefdom. Last month she tried to fine us for planting sunflowers without her approval. Emily had stood her ground at the meeting, publicly humiliating her with a copy of the bylaws. Valerie's glare that night could have cut glass. "She sent them," Emily said flatly. "I'd bet my life on it." Days crawled by with no arrests. The HOA board claimed ignorance, their smiles too tight. Valerie waltzed around the neighborhood with that smug tilt of her chin, as if daring us to accuse her. Emily refused to be intimidated. But I could see the tremor in her hands whenever a strange car slowed in front of our house. I wasn't sleeping much either. Every creak of the floorboards at night made my heart spike. One evening, as we sat on the porch, our lights still defiantly glowing, Emily whispered, "She thinks we're weak. She thinks she's untouchable," I said. Emily turned to me, a glint in her eyes that I recognized, not fear, but resolve. "Then we show her she's not." I hesitated. "What are you saying?" "She loves those Harleys more than anything," Emily said, voice low. "What if something happened to them?" My breath caught. I wasn't a man who sought revenge. But the memory of those fake cops, the sound of handcuffs clicking around Emily's wrists, anger burned through me like wildfire. We didn't plan it that night. But the seed was planted. A week later, the annual HOA barbecue drew most neighbors to the community park, including Valerie. We knew she'd be gone for hours. Emily and I slipped out as the sun dipped behind the trees, dressed in dark clothes. My heart hammered like a drum as we crept toward Valerie's oversized garage at the edge of her property. The scent of gasoline and leather hit me when Emily pried open a side door with a hairpin. There they were, 17 gleaming Harleys, lined up like soldiers. Chrome sparkled under fluorescent lights. Each bike bore a custom plate with names like Venom Queen and Steel Majesty. Emily's eyes hardened. She used fear to control everyone. Let's end it. We worked quickly, pouring a trail of accelerant across the concrete floor, careful not to breathe too deep. I hesitated with the match, a final chance to turn back. But then I saw again the bruises on Emily's wrists. She struck the match. The flame leapt, dancing hungrily. Within seconds, heat roared against our faces. The bikes ignited like a line of fireworks, paint blistering, chrome warping. We backed out, the blaze reflecting in Emily's eyes. Outside, we watched from the shadows as fire consumed Valerie's kingdom. Sirens wailed in the distance, a mournful chorus to our silent fury. Dash dash dash. The fire marshal ruled it, suspicious, but no one suspected us. Valerie screamed at board meetings, threatened lawsuits, even offered a cash reward. But without evidence, she was powerless. The neighborhood changed after that night. People stopped cowering. They planted gardens, painted houses, hung lights, bright, defiant lights. Valerie's empire of fear crumbled, her Harleys reduced to ash and twisted metal. Emily and I never spoke of it aloud. But every evening, when our porch lights flickered to life, a quiet understanding passed between us. We hadn't just avenged ourselves, we'd freed our neighbors from her reign. Sometimes I still hear the echo of those fake cops' boots on our driveway, the cold snap of handcuffs. But then I see Emily's steady gaze, unbroken and fierce, and I know we took back what was ours. Our porch lights still burn every night, brighter than ever, a beacon of defiance, a promise that no one will ever put her in chains again.